up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to the Nerdy Narrative. This is a Heinz 57 channel where I talk about all of the things that I read and share my thoughts with you in case I'm able to help you find your next read. I call it a Heinz 57 channel because I read a lot of different genres: fantasy, horror, science fiction, classics, literary fiction, a little bit of nonfiction here and there. So I always have a variety of different reads going that I get to tell you about. On today's episode of fun, I am going to share with you my weekly reading wrap up, which consists of everything that I read, what I'm still currently working on, and what I plan to work on next. Let's just jump right into it, starting with what I completed as far as reading. And I've only completed one book, but wow, was it a doozy of a book to finish. That is Sinless of Sins by Josiah Bancroft, which is book 1 in the Books of Babel series. I loved this book. Absolutely loved it. I will not lie, I actually didn't think I was going to enjoy this book very much. The first chapter had a great hook. Josiah Bancroft did exactly what I love for my authors to do, and that is they get me in that first chapter. However, the next few chapters just really didn't do anything for me. I did not like the main character. I thought he was really annoyingly awkward. Then chapter 6 hit and I was in. That hook Josiah Bancroft put in me in the first chapter, he set that sucker and reeled me in, and I was completely enamored of this book. I enjoyed it so much. I flew through it. I mean, it is on the shorter side as far as fantasy books are concerned. You just get so involved. Every chapter was an adventure of some sort, whether it was whimsical or dark and dangerous and mysterious. It was amazing. There are so many elements. I was so surprised. I was constantly surprised at where this narrative would turn. I loved it. I am so happy that I saved it for the latter end of the month because that means I can start next week on book 2. And you can bet that September 1st, Arm of the Sphinx is going to be one of the first books I pick up and start. And then moving into what I'm still working on, first up is still The Count of Monte Cristo. I am 264 pages in, which is not very much in this chunker. It's very small, even though the page count sounds like a lot. I finished through chapter 30 last night and it was amazing. My friend Larry from Larry Has Opinions told me the first 30 chapters were his favorite, and I 100% see why. I feel that chapter 30 brings to a close kind of one arc of the story, and I feel like we're going to start a fresh arc after that, and I am so excited. This book is so surprisingly good. I knew the premise is that it is a revenge story. I've heard so many people say that it was the best revenge story. And I have to say, guys, I'm agreeing. I do feel like when I finish this one, I'm going to say the same thing. I think this is going to be my favorite revenge story. It is absolutely wonderful. I know the size is daunting, but what I'm doing, literally, I do one chapter a day because the chapters are really long. I do one chapter a day. I do it with the audiobook, and the narrator is amazing, and it's just beautiful. It's such a beautiful story. It's beautifully written. It is just paced perfectly. It is a slow burn, but you really come to enjoy that. And then combined with how pleasant the narrator's voice is, it's just a wonderful experience. I'm also still working on The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie, which is the second standalone in the First Law world. I am halfway through this sucker. I am loving every minute of it. It feels like it could have been book 4 in the First Law trilogy. If the trilogy had been a longer series, this feels like book 4. You still would have to read Best Served Cold before it because there are some things mentioned, but they're so small. But this one just feels like it picks up right where Last Argument of Kings leaves off. I am absolutely enjoying it. I know people will tell you this book is about a 3-day battle. But to be called a book about a 3-day battle and that many pages, you're thinking, wow, that's a lot of fighting. And actually, there's not been a whole lot of fighting. There's been some skirmishes, but it's really about strategy and just other plot points that are being introduced or revealed to us, and I am just absolutely loving it. There is a character that has been in all of the First Law books, except for maybe the Blade itself, that I just have absolutely, he's become my favorite. And I love his arc over all of the books so far. I hope he continues to be in the following book. I just absolutely love this world. I love all of the characters. I love the writing style. I just love what Joe Abercrombie has built with this series. Also still working on reading the first draft of Lily, which is book 6 in Daniel Barnett's Nightmareland Chronicles. I still cannot tell you anything about it except that I am absolutely enjoying myself immensely, and I'm loving what is being done with this one. I'm loving where it's going. I thought I knew the direction it was going to go, and I was completely wrong, but I'm just enjoying it, and I'm taking it slow. I wanted to just read one chapter a day because I feel like it might be a while before I get book 7. So I wanted to take it slow. I wanted to just do one chapter per night, just soak it in and just enjoy the experience. But there's been a couple of nights where I couldn't do that. I just had to do more than one chapter. So I am attempting to drag it out as long as possible. So we'll see how that continues to go. But so far it is a typical Daniel Barnett, which means it is just a work of art. So a couple of nights ago, I started The Last Town by Blake Crouch. This is book 3 in the Wayward Pines trilogy that I actually read the first 2 books early last year, I think it was, and then I just never picked this one up. And here's what I think happened. The first book in the trilogy is Pines, and I read it in 2 sittings. It was amazing. It had a breakneck pace to it. You just couldn't stop turning the pages. The second book in the series kind of had a tonal shift to it, and it was a much slower paced book. I wasn't expecting that. My expectations was that it was going to be the same as the first book, so it threw me off. I still enjoyed that book, but it just really threw me off kilter, and I think that's why I was so reluctant to pick this one up. Well, that was a mistake because this book is even more fast-paced and thrilling than Pines was. I read almost the whole thing the first time I sat down to read it. I definitely would have finished it last night, but I was filming a collaboration with World Hoppers. So rest assured, this book will be getting finished today, and I will be gushing about it with Michael Nip because he is the one who has been dying for me to finish this trilogy, and it is finally going to happen. And then yesterday, I got started on Unveiled, which is the first novella in this bind-up, A Lineage of Grace by Francine Rivers. Each of the 5 novellas in this bind-up is about 5 unlikely women who changed eternity. What I mean by eternity, this is Christian fiction. These are about 5 different biblical women who are in the lineage of Christ. What Francine Rivers does, she takes the biblical accounts of each of these women, built on that foundation, created dialogue, other fictional characters, she put everything into context. She tells us their beliefs, their customs. She just fleshes it out and makes it easier to understand what is going on. But the first novella is called Unveiled, and it is about Tamar. And Tamar is the girl who married the eldest of Judah's son, and it is amazing. I sat down, started it yesterday. I read half of it before I had realized it, and I will also be trying to finish this one today. I love Francine Rivers. She is without a doubt my favorite Christian fiction author. I've loved everything I've ever read by her, which is almost all of her works. I need to catch up. I know there's a few out that I haven't read yet that I need to get in my collection, and I will definitely be working on doing that. That wraps up everything that I'm currently working on. Like I said, I do plan to finish The Last Town and Unveil today, and then I'll probably spend a good amount of time in Lily and the Heroes. So tomorrow I plan to start The Heart is a Lonely Hunter by Carson McCullers. This was sent to me by my friend Kate over at the Literary Apothecary, and she told me when she sent it to me it was a book that had been on her TBR for a while. I am a patron of her channel. My name was chosen to pick a book for Kate to read in August. So I chose this book for Kate and then told her I was gonna buddy read it with her. So we're gonna get started reading this one this week, and then just depending on how the week goes, I will also be starting The Thunder Heist by Jed Hearn. I believe this one is pretty short, so I should be able to knock it out quick, fast, and in a hurry, but I've heard many good things about it. I'm looking forward into starting that series. I want to say that The Thunder Heist is book 1 of a trilogy. If it's not a trilogy, I do know that it's the start of a series. Either way, I am excited to get into it and see what I think about that one. Of course, I'll be sharing it with you guys. And that's gonna do it. That is everything that I read and what I'm still reading and what I plan to read next. What have you guys gotten into this week? I would love to hear all about what you guys have been reading. You can drop it in the comments down below, or you can click on the description box, follow the link to the Nerdy Narrative Discord, and come share with all of the fam over there. Guys, I hope you have had a wonderful start to your morning. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend, and I will see you in the next one.